Hi guys, welcome to my channel. For my first ever video, I'll be making a tutorial on how to import your ZEPETO character into Unity and get you started on making ZEPETO MMD videos. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, or follow me on Instagram and ZEPETO to stay updated. Before anything, you need to make sure you have these programs, Blender and Unity, installed on your computer. The links to the versions you need for both can be found on the ZEPETO Studio website. You also need to download ZEPETO's World Template Installer to be able to import your character. For Unity, you need to make sure you have the 2020.3.9 version in order for ZEPETO's plugins to work. You will also need to download the ZEPETO Studio file for Unity. To do this, go back to the Studio website and click on the Studio Guide tab. Then, scroll down to the section for 3D Maya and open the Preparing 3D Model tab. Scrolling down to Step 2, the first link is the file. Click on it, scroll down through the agreement, and agree to the terms of use. Then, click Download. Go to your file folder and select the download. There should be two folders. The first one, Mac OS X, should be taken out by Mac users. Windows, Linux, and other users should use the studio file under it. To install Blender, type blender.org into your search bar and visit the website. I wouldn't recommend installing the latest version, as there's a high chance that the other tools we will install won't work on it. Instead, click on the link for the previous versions and scroll down until you see Blender 3.5. Install a program that works for your computer and you're done. Next, you will need to download the files from the folder I linked in the description. Some will be used in Blender while the others will be used in Unity. I'll explain what they're for when it's time to use them. To set up Unity, open the Unity Hub and click the Add button. Then, select the ZEPETO Studio file we downloaded and click Open. It should automatically start loading the project. When it opens, click on the Playground asset. You should see the loader in the Hierarchy tab. Click on it and it should open the Inspector tab. If you scroll down, there's a space to type in your ZEPETO ID. Put your ID or username in the box and hit Enter to load it in. When you're done, click the play button at the top of the screen. When it loads in, click the Scene tab to see your character. You don't have to remove the 3D space for now, but I do delete it when I'm making my MMD videos. Now that you've learned how to import your avatar, we can now start importing MMD motions into Unity. First, if you haven't already, make sure you download the MMD mechanism and TDA files. These are super important, so you have to make sure you have them. Going back to Unity, go to the Asset tab and click Import Package. Select Custom Package and go to where you stored your MMD mechanism file. Make sure you import the package that doesn't say standard or your import will not work. Once everything is loaded, go to your files and drag the TDA folder into your assets. Going back to my shared folder, add the motion, camera, and audio we'll be using for this tutorial in the motions folder. However, if you'd like to find your own motion, YouTube is a good place to look for them. They are normally linked in the description of the creator's video, and you can download them by doing what you see me doing now. When you download the motion, go back to Unity and drag it into your assets along with the camera and audio for it. Go into the TDA file and there should be a script near the end. If yours looks like mine, just delete the file and re-import it. The script should show up then. Click on the script and scroll all the way down to the agreement. Check all the boxes and click Agree. Then, go back to your assets and place the MMD file into the VMD box and click Process. There will be a command window pop up, but this is normal. Once it's done, go back to the TDA file and there should be a box with an arrow. Click the box and you should see a rigging tab show up in the inspector. Change the animation type to humanoid and click Apply. After it loads, follow the video and select the Bake Pose option for each component and change it to original. Then click Apply. A box should appear in the TDA file. If you expand the box by clicking on the arrow, there should be a triangle asset. This is the motion. Duplicate it by pressing Ctrl or Command D and drag it to your assets. The two square images next to the camera and MMD motions are animation controllers. To add them, right-click, press Create, and scroll until you see the animation controller. To add the animations to them, you need to double-click the controller and drag the animation inside of it. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you save your project using Ctrl or Command S so you don't lose your work. We're also going to delete this camera and add a new one. Then, click on the camera and remove the audio listener component. Then, add an animator by typing it into the search bar. Drag the camera controller into the controller box. Before you press play again, make sure to go into the loader, scroll all the way down, and change the target camera to the new camera, or you'll end up making the same mistake I did. As you can see, the camera is moving and my avatar is correctly loaded. To add the MMD motion to your character, open the arrow on the loader in the hierarchy and select ZEPETO context. Drag the MMD controller to the controller box and your character should start moving. If you want to adjust the camera, right-click it in the hierarchy and select Create Empty Parent. Adjust its position to 0 and you'll be able to move the camera as you like. Before this tutorial ends, there are a few extra things I want to show you how to do. First, how to add a timeline. This is what will sync your motion, camera, and your audio. Make sure you leave play mode to install it, or if you're watching this before your project, install it before you put it in play mode. The same goes for the recorder when I show you how to export your video. Click on the Window tab and go to Package Manager. Type Timeline into the search bar and click Install. You can also install the recorder the same way. Once they're installed, you can go back into play mode. Click the Window tab and select Sequencing, then select Timeline. You can drag it to where you want it to be in your layout. Then, create an empty object in the Hierarchy tab. Rename it to TL for Timeline and create a timeline in the Timeline tab. Save it in your files. Right-click on the side of the timeline and add 2 animation tracks and an audio track. Select the camera and ZEPETO context in each of the animation tracks. To add the motion, right-click the timeline and select Add from Animation Clip. For audio, select audio clip. Press play to make sure they're all working. You can adjust the camera using the parent layer we added earlier. Well, what if you're planning to use the motion that comes with the camera animation? I'll show you how to import a camera since I made the one for this tutorial myself. We'll need to use Blender and a few files I have linked in my folder. The Blender MMD file and the Catch Blender file are what we'll use. Don't unzip them when you download them. Open Blender 3.5. To delete the current objects in the scene, click A, then X to delete, and hit Enter. Next, go to the Edit tab in the top left corner and click on the Preferences tab. Go to Add-ons and click the Install button. Go to where you stored the files in the pop-up and select its zip package. Click the Install Add-on button. Repeat the same process for the other file. I forgot to add this in the video, but you should click the Enabled Add-ons Only button to make sure they're installed in Blender. You can close that window and hit Shift-A to add a camera. Then, go to the side arrow next to the inspector and click the MMD button. In the Scene Setup tab, you should see 3 import buttons. The one in the middle is what you should use to add a motion to your camera. Go to your motion file and import the camera BMD file. If you press the play button, you should see the camera start to move. This next step is important. Go to the File tab and select Export. Click FBX. In the Object Type section on the right, make sure you only have the camera selected. You don't need to change any other settings. Go back to Unity and drag the camera FBX file into your assets. Select the arrow on the box to expand it. There are 2 camera animations. Make sure you click the one that says DIS at the end and duplicate it. You can delete the original file. The steps for adding it to your video are the same. You can add it to the timeline by deleting the current motion for the camera and replacing it with the one you just imported. Make sure you adjust it to match the motion. If you find that your camera is difficult to adjust, it may be because your character is too small. Scale it up to the same size as the camera to make adjustments easier like I'm doing now. Finally, I want to show you how to export your video. If you haven't already downloaded it, go out of play mode and install the recorder the same way you installed the timeline. Then go to General and click on Recorder, then Recorder window. When it pops up, the first thing you want to do is click Add Recorder. Make sure to click Movie or your video won't export right. Change the source from Game View to Targeted Camera. Change the camera from Main to Active Camera. For high quality video, change the output resolution to 4K. Your aspect ratio can be whatever you want it to be. Make sure Include Audio is checked if you added audio to your video. You don't need to change any other settings, but always make sure your path is set to project. If not, it will not record. When all your settings are set, go back to the timeline and restart the video. Pause it and you can press Start Recording. Press play on the timeline and it will record. When the recording is finished, you can click the directory button to view it. Congrats! You've mastered the basics of ZEPETO MMD. In the next video, I'll be going over how to add a stage, shadows, and other effects. If you have any questions or suggestions for a future video, leave them in the comments below, or send me a message on Instagram or ZEPETO. Remember to like and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching.